Over by lower hospital, just a little further east. Stadium used to own the building. All those. It's back quite a bit east. When you drive by, you see a lot of the buildings way back on the side. Yeah. What are they trying to do? What are they trying to do?
Everybody's like,
Storage units? Storage units? Storage units? That's right.
good evening, everyone. It is 5:30, so we'll go ahead and get started. Welcome, everyone. It's always good to see you here. If you didn't know this, I see most faces I've seen before, but if you haven't been here, the agenda, there should be a copy of the agenda here just to the right of the doorway. If you don't have a copy of that, if you'd like to grab one, certainly welcome to do that. We'll go ahead and get started with call to order, and we'll do roll call here later. Invocation. Can you help me with that?
Yep.
Thank you.
God, we'd like to ask for your guidance and wisdom as we make decisions to try to better our community for the foreseeable future. We ask that you will grant us all with clarity as we try to do our best to honor the wishes of the people here in North Platte. In your name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Nisley?
Here.
Bakersfield?
Here.
Peterson? Lucas?
Here.
Lee?
Here.
Carmen? Rieger? Oslo?
Okay, a current copy of the Open Meetings Act in Nebraska is posted on the wall at the back of the council chambers. If I may, I notice we have a couple of public hearings this evening. So if I could draw your attention to, on the front page of the agenda, a meeting procedure. I'll go over that very quickly. So the public may address a specific agenda items at the pleasure of the mayor. If recognized by the mayor, please identify yourself by stating your name and address, and limit remarks to 3 minutes or less. Out of respect to the city employees, we ask it not be aired in, well, let me start over. Jeez. State your name and address, Limit remarks to 3 minutes. Out of respect to city employees, we request that any complaints or criticisms of employees not be aired in a public meeting. Concerns about employees should be brought to the attention of the city administrator or mayor, and individual in violation will be declared out of order. So I'd appreciate your help in that area as well. All right, we'll start with the consent agenda. Oh, and gentlemen, if you'd be so kind, just remind you to turn your mics on when you speak. I'd really appreciate it. And if you can watch your neighbors, make sure they got their mics turned on. That's for the benefit of the people that are listening on Zoom. So we'd appreciate it if you can help us out. Consent agenda, all matters on consent agenda are considered by the city council to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. Any city council member may, however, remove an item from consent by request. We'll get this together yet. Item number 1 is approved minutes of September 15th, 2020. Item number 2 is place on file treasurer's report for August 2020. And item number 3 is adopted resolution for signing of a municipal annual certification of program compliance from Form 2020 and authorize the mayor to sign the municipal annual certification program compliance to Nebraska Board of Public Roads Classifications and Standards 2020.
I move that we approve items 1 through 3 of the consent agenda.
Second.
And that motion passes. All right, our regular agenda. Item number 4, approve recommendation of the Quality Growth Fund LB 840 Citizens Review Committee for a $400,000 request for a performance-based forgivable loan from Whitetail Management of North Platte, Nebraska for renovation work needed to attract new businesses into the recently purchased Parkade Plaza business complex in downtown North Platte pursuant to administration's revision outlined on page 30.
I move that we would approve the recommendation of the Quality Growth Fund LB 840 Citizens Review Committee for a $400,000 request for performance-based forgivable loan from Whitetail Management parent company of North Platte, Nebraska, for renovation work needed to attract new business into a recently purchased Parkade Plaza complex in downtown North Platte pursuant to administration's revisions outlined on page 30 attached.
Second.
Yes, sir.
Mayor, I think I shared with you and Terry that Nebraska Land Bank provided a portion of the purchase financing for the Caldwells on this, so I'm just going to abstain from any voting, but we'll join in conversation on this if it's okay with you.
Sure, that's fine.
All right.
Yes.
I'm just really glad that we have somebody local that has a proven track record of making successful business here in North Platte, willing to make such a big investment back into our community, not just for themselves, not just to try to, I mean, I'm sure they're trying to make a profit here, but, but I mean, is an effort to try to make our community and our city better. And and bringing something back under local control that, has been run by somebody who, has been out of town and to some degree has been an absentee owner, I guess, to a lot of that property. It's nice that you guys will be able to be there to see it through and to make sure that it's a success. And I'm really hoping that this goes through because, I really believe in you guys and I've seen you guys' track record and it's awesome. And I hope to be able to tell you congratulations soon.
Was there any questions, comments?
There were just a couple questions that I had. First of all, I was curious if the Caldwells had any concerns about the ability to get sales tax and wage information from tenants, if you were concerned about that being an obstacle at all, forgiveness, or do you feel like you can negotiate that into the leases where that won't be a problem for you?
Shay Caldwell, 2902 West A.
Thank you, Shay.
Procedure.
Thank you.
Our hope is that we're going to be able to find local entities to fill those vacancies, and so I really don't feel that it will be an issue. Now, if we were to bring in somebody bigger, that might be an issue. With the smaller local tenancies, I think we could write it into their lease agreement that we would need to have access to that information. If it's a bigger tenant, we may have an issue with it, but there again, if it's a bigger tenant, we probably won't have a lot of trouble showing that we're bringing in that 25% that was required in that forgivable aspect, so.
So you guys can live with that, in other words?
I
Yeah.
think so.
Okay.
We can make it work.
Okay.
We can be pretty convincing if we have to.
And then the only other second thing I was curious about more for the council is I know a lot of these we've switched to doing a loan participation. And I think, Terry, you're generally on board with that idea, aren't you? Yeah, and the logistics on that is either the bank that's doing other financing or the lender of Caldwell's choice could issue the loan to them and then basically sell it to the city under a participation agreement. And so the city purchases that. It basically just it makes the bank who's involved or do the work on the documentation and service the loan for the bank. And so or for the city, and I'd strongly encourage you guys to have it done that way in any of these quality growth fund loans.
So the city can rely upon the initiating bank to monitor the loan, make sure it's paid, and then the city still can carve out a small fee. So it's far better than what we were doing.
Yeah, and the city would still get the interest in that.
Right.
So normally, like if the loan was 3% or something, the market rate is like a quarter point. So a bank would typically say, yeah, I'll service this for you for a quarter point. So if it was 3%, the city would receive 2.75%. And then all the principal comes back to, and then you've got somebody who's servicing that loan who does it every day and has all the documentation. So when we did the last quality growth fund renewal, almost 10 years ago, I think, right, Gary?
I haven't heard that this way.
We baked that little component into the plan just because it would save the city a lot of paperwork and efforts. So.
Real quick, I guess I need to amend the original motion, which will require a vote here, to include the quarter point participation agreements to this. So it needs a second, and then
Second.
we have to vote.
Yeah, we'll have to start over.
So you withdrawing your initial motion?
I'm amending the original motion.
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Okay, so now we're voting on the amendment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, it's up there. That motion passes, the amendment's added, 5-0. Now if we can back up and make a motion for the rest of it.
Yep. We have a motion on the rest of it. We just need to vote on it.
Okay. And that motion passes 5-0 with one abstention. Okay. Congratulations, Shay, and
We wish you the best of luck.
thank you, Jeff, Shay. Awesome. Item number 5, approve the recommendation of the Quality Growth Fund LB 840 Citizens Review Committee for a $95,000 small business loan set at 3%. Interest over 10 years for McNews Unlimited LLC for the expansion of its golf cart sales, repair, and service business at its new location at 2424 East 4th Street as part of the small business loan provision in the Quality Growth Fund program.
I move to approve a $95,000 small business loan set at 3% interest over 10 years for McNews Unlimited LLC for the expansion of its golf cart sales, repair, and service business at its new 2424 East 4th location as a part of the small business loan provision in the Quality Growth Fund program.
Second.
I'm sorry, I thought maybe you guys were gonna have some questions or discussion on it. I did have a couple questions for the applicants. Also, maybe it's too late. I was gonna see if we wanted to do the participation. I'd recommend having the participation on this. I don't. Does that need done in the motions, Terry? Okay.
I think it can follow, the documentation can follow afterwards.
Okay. I don't worry about them. Can I ask a couple of questions if you guys have a minute? Maybe it doesn't matter at this point, but if you don't mind walking just through the whole project, I know that the 95,000's for remodel, but I'm guessing you have a lot more than 95,000 by the time you get the building and your inventory and all that type of stuff. So do you mind going through just what the total, kind of your total business plan looks like and what part of the funding this is?
Yes. First of all, my name is Nick McNew, 1601 North Dodge Avenue. The building has already been purchased and we signed a lease on the building, so we already have our money already invested in that. The building is a 6,000 square foot open steel building. So what we need the renovation money for is to go in there and have a 1,500 square foot showroom with offices that are gonna apply to occupancy codes for the resale of golf carts.
And of everything you'll have invested to start the business, what percentage do you think approximately the 95,000 is?
Roughly 30% of the total
Okay.
investment.
Okay, so you've got, and you have bank financing involved with it too?
Correct, yes, yep, we've already got the loan approved, signed papers, it's a LLC that, is owned under my family, so I just signed a long-term lease with them. And my family that owns that LLC is also going to back the loan, and so between their LLC, my LLC, and the bank, we all have backing and collateral and investment involved.
Thank you.
Attorney, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Where's the entrance gonna be, and way over off the Bicentennial?
No, the entrance, there's two entrances off of 4th Street currently. They are just not accessible at this time because when the entrances were created by the Spadies, there is a huge dip into the lot. So we're going to go in and build that up. So the entrance will actually be off of Highway 30, 4th Street.
And they'll just go around, I call it the diner that the Spadies had.
Yeah, currently we have to go around the diner to entrance the building right now. But before we open the first of the year, we will have everything ready to go and have the entrance off of 4th Street.
Just so you guys know, the reason I was asking that question is I know when this plan was put together, that 10% portion for the small business, it's designed for kind of, I think, what we call like gap financing. Is that the right term, Gary? Where owners got some investment in it, bank or whoever comes in and is doing traditional financing, and then there's some kind of a hole. And so there wasn't quite enough information in our packet to determine that. So that's why I was asking the question.
Yeah, no.
But thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And that motion passes. Thank you. Item number 6, public hearing and action on a recommendation by the North Platte Planning Commission for approval of a conditional use permit to allow a contractor's office with storage and mini warehouse in a B2 highway commercial district located at 3302 South Willow Street on property described as Lot 1, Rookstool Administrative Subdivision, North Platte, Nebraska. And this is a public hearing if anybody wishes to speak. Why don't we get through the public hearing, then you can ask all the questions you like. I would ask for a public hearing to be closed.
Move that we close public hearing.
Thank you. And that motion passes. Public hearing's been closed. Now, before you ask questions, has there been a motion on the table yet? No. Why don't we do that, and then you can ask all the questions you like.
I move that we find the request for a conditional use permit to allow a contractor's office with storage and mini warehouse in a B2 highway commercial district located at 3302 South Willow Street meets the minimum standards stated in the North Platte Code of Ordinances, Section 156-322, and approve the grant the conditional use permit requested with the condition that all elements of the application are complied with. Based on the following findings, that 1, the use shall conform to all applicable ordinances, laws, and regulations of any governmental jurisdiction. 2, the use shall have adequate water, sewer, and drainage facilities. 3, ingress and egress shall be so designated as to minimize traffic congestion in the public streets. 4, the use shall, in all other respects, conform to the applicable regulations of the district in which it is located. 5, the use shall be in harmony with the character of the area and the most appropriate use of the land.
Second.
Okay.
I guess can I ask the applicant a question real quick? Yeah. Okay. So in here, you were talking about a few different things you're gonna do there. First is gonna be the construction piece there, or your construction company, you're building a building. So two parts to it, I guess, and then you're also looking at, possible future RV and boat storage, that kind of thing. Are those gonna be like covered lots? Are you gonna chain link them in? You know, what's your kind of idea on that?
Well, Justin Brooks, still 4601 West A.
Thank you.
Anyway, yeah, they'll be chain linked except for the one entrance off of Willow.
Okay. And then on your building with your construction stuff, give me an idea kind of on your site plan, I guess, a little bit. I mean, how much stuff are you gonna have outside and the visibility? How much is in a building?
A lot of it will be shielded by the RV building. That's going to be on Walker.
What do you mean by shielded?
Well, you won't be able to see much of it.
So it'll be behind it or off to the south or,
The building, my building for the company will be on the south side of the lot.
okay,
And then you'll be able to see it from the east side. There'll be a few trailers outside. Most of it's going to be pretty well upkept.
I mean, you're not gonna have equipment laying out and around all over there?
There'd be maybe a couple skid loaders or something like that, but
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
okay.
I think I might have a Judy question. Oh, I'm sorry, Jim, I didn't interrupt you. I was trying to make sure I understood, so if this was light industrial, would this be allowed? And so is it the fact that we're in a B2, if you might just walk through why a conditional use for,
Yes, for this in particular, Judy Clark, Planning Administrator, it is in a B2 highway commercial district. It allows for an office building. It does not allow for outdoor storage without going through a conditional use. He is required to screen, so if you're asking about whether it's going to be screened, it's going to have to be screened appropriately according to zoning and building codes. So he will have to provide some screening. Sometimes it's a building, sometimes it's a fence. It's just going to be how, we get that worked out according to code. But yes, there will be some screening.
if this was light industrial, would that still require conditional use too on storage or not, or that's allowed, right?
That would be an allowed use, yeah.
Well, I read the letter from is it Mrs. Torres, and I was thinking about that it's in B2, and so by conditional use permitting this is probably a little more protective of adjacent property than would be trying to zone it to industrial or something for the same purpose, right?
Yes, that, and you have the ability, you as city council members, have
Okay.
the ability to add conditions to that. So if there is something that you specifically want to protect the neighbors, like a fence or evergreen trees or something like that, you have the ability to add conditions. City Planning Commission, you've got the motion that they sent, and it didn't have any additional conditions on there. There is a privacy fence on the west side of the property that screens that adjacent residential structure. It's difficult to put screening on the north side, but where he's going to put his building, that is going to screen some of those. And then, of course, to the east, you have a commercial, I don't know if it's a storage or trucks,
Right.
I think, go in and out of there. So you have a commercial use there, so that doesn't require any screening. But yeah, you have the ability, since it is a conditional use, that you can put some conditions on there if you want to see something. As long as they're reasonable, it's considered a reasonable condition that you can put on there.
That's what I was getting at was the screening, but I'm trying to look here, is that enough room to even put much fencing in there without having to get some sort of exemption on the fencing ordinance?
We would have to look at, the site plan that he provided was hand-drawn site
Yeah.
plan. Before he can do any commercial construction, it's gonna have to be a site plan that's drawn by an architect, surveyor, engineer, that's gonna meet all of those, so then we can get a better idea of exactly what it looks like. But if you require him to put a fence, he will have to put a fence.
And I'm just trying to think, there's a lot of those neighbors that live right there on the north side of that road specifically. I think there's some newer houses on that other side, but they're a little bit further off, so I'm less concerned. There's more of those people on the north side, some shielding to them as they're coming down there. But that road's gonna have to be widened at some point in time anyway. But, I mean, that's why I was curious, is if, we're to try, I'm tempted, that's why I was kind of wanting to ask before I made the motion, is because, I feel like some screening there, a fence, or even a natural barrier. I really don't care what it is. Just something to, so it doesn't hurt eyesore property values across the street. You know what I mean? No offense, but I mean, sometimes people don't want to look at skid loaders and, maybe a concrete, mixer or something like that sitting out across from their house. Or if they're trying to sell the house, those are not real appealing kind of things. Not that this isn't proper where it's at, it's just,
Green space is always good.
Yeah.
Green space is always a good option to put in there, and you can require some green space on the street side, if that's what you choose to do. I will tell you that in the neighborhood, at the planning commission meeting, we did not have anyone speak out against the project. I didn't get any phone calls except for Ms. Torres that's in the audience. That is the only one in the neighborhood. Just so you understand, that we didn't have any large opposition against what was going on. Actually, a few of the neighbors called, relieved that what used to be there is not going to be there any longer.
a pile of
So-
rubbish.
Well, and it is B2 today, so it is already a business zone property. So there's a lot of things you could do in B2 that would create the same kind of things. And storage units have a lot of requirements to permit anyway, right?
Yes.
Like fencing, for example,
Yes.
I think it's required building permit, is that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it
okay.
is required to have a fence, yeah.
My question is, there going to be equipment stored on here? Are you anticipating construction materials? We ran into this before where they would, use broken up concrete and stuff like that being stored on there.
No, no, that's gonna be there.
Would it be like a crazy encumbrance to ask for some green space possibly to be put in along that, to give you a buffer between the houses on the other side of the street?
Yeah, so I'm planning on staying off about 10.5 feet, 11 feet from the property line on the north side, so that's all gonna be green.
Okay. I mean, are like bushes or anything like, is that stuff gonna bother you? Is that too much of, I'm asking for too much
No, I'm
or?
gonna have a retention pond on that property too, cause it's required, and, we're probably gonna landscape that a little bit, make it look nice.
Okay, so if I was to like say, some landscaping, shielding or something, landscaping screening along there, that would be okay with you?
Sure.
Okay.
Before we vote, I do want to mention, we did receive a letter from, I hope I pronounced this right, Irma Linda Torres. I just wanted to make sure that everybody was aware of this. I'll just go ahead and read this if you don't mind, and then it'll be a part of the record. Go ahead. Okay, this letter is a response to notice regarding the Rookstool concrete application for a permit to have a conditional use permit for a contractor's office storage mini warehouse in a B2 highway commercial district at 3302 South Willow. As a close resident to this property, I want to say I'm opposed to this. If they wish to have junkers like the last renters did, if given permission to bring their equipment onto this property, most likely it will be an eyesore to the residential community there. I would appreciate your deepest discretionary thoughts to be used before approving this permit. So I think those items have been answered this evening. I think that this has been discussed, so thank you for bringing that forward. We appreciate that. So now you know what the concerns were for at least one neighbor in that area. I think that's important, so.
I guess I'd like to make a motion to amend the original motion to put a condition for natural landscape screening on the north side of the property.
Second.
So
We'll need to take a vote on the amendment.
So we're just voting on the amendment to the motion, right?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Orange, already got it.
And that motion passes. Now we'll vote on the main motion. And that passes as well. All right. Item number 7, public hearing and action on ordinance number 4042, amending the North Platte Code of Ordinance, Chapter 150, Building Regulations, Construction Section number 150.094, and Chapter 156, Zoning, Section 156.083, relating to footings and accessory uses.
Mayor Livingston, would you like me to read the ordinance?
Yes, please.
An ordinance of the City of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, amending Chapter 150 Building Regulations, Construction Sections 150.094 and Chapter 156 Zoning Section 156.083 relating to footings and accessory uses, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof in pamphlet form.
Thank you.
I move to adopt ordinance number 4042, amending the North Platte Code of, City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 150, Building Regulations, Construction, Section 150.094, and Chapter 156, Zoning, Section 156.803, relating to footings and accessory uses on first reading.
Second.
Judy, can I ask you a question? Is the public hearing right now?
Oh, did we not get out of that? I am totally sorry. This is a public hearing. Did anybody wish to speak? That got away from me. Anybody? Okay. I take
Motion to close public hearing.
Second.
And that motion passes. Public hearing's been closed. I apologize for that.
I now move to adopt ordinance number 4042, amending the North Platte City Code of Ordinances, Chapter 150, Building Regulations, Construction Section, Construction Section 150.094, and Chapter 156, Zoning Section 156.803, relating to footings and accessory uses on first reading.
Second.
Judy, I'm sorry. My question is, and I've had this come up before in my ward, is the people buy the storage containers, you know, I guess the best way to, the cargo containers. Are they required to have footings under this ordinance, or does that take that away?
Yeah, no, cargo containers are not allowed unless we treat them as a actual building, and they will be over the square footage anyway, so yes, they would be treated like a stick-built structure.
Hey, Judy, I want to make sure I understand this right. We're always getting a hard time for making things more difficult, but this looks like it makes things easier for
Yeah.
a lot of people. Is that the idea?
I think so. Dave Hahn, building inspector, the city engineer, and also the city administrator and I all kind of got together, and yeah, it does actually make it a little bit easier. It makes it a little bit easier to regulate on our part also.
Yeah. I commend you guys on being proactive with this. Thank you.
And that motion passes. All right, item number 8. Action on ordinance number 4047, amending North Platte Code of Ordinance sections 130.040 and 130.041, changing the age to possess and sale of tobacco products, electronic nicotine delivery systems, and alternative nicotine products to 21 years of age.
Mayor Livingston, would you like me to read the ordinance?
Yes, please.
An ordinance of the City of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, amending City Municipal Code Sections 130.040 and 130.041 relating to the regulations of tobacco to include electronic nicotine delivery systems and alternative nicotine products in said code sections, repealing ordinances or part of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof as required by law.
I would move that we suspend the rules requiring 3 separate readings on ordinance number 4047.
And that motion motion passes. Thank you.
I move to approve ordinance number 4047, amending the municipal code sections 130.040 and 130.041, changing the age to possess and sell to sale of tobacco products, electronic nicotine delivery systems, and alternative nicotine products to 21 years of age.
And that passes. Thank you. Item number 9, approve job description for new position of a human resource manager.
I move to approve the job description for the new position of human resources manager.
Second.
Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 10, action on ordinance number 4048, amending salary ordinance number 4015, establishing a salary schedule for the position of human resource manager in their general administration finance department.
Mayor Livingston, would you like me to read the ordinance?
Yes, please.
An ordinance of the mayor and city council of the city of North Platte, Lincoln County, Nebraska, amending salary ordinance number 4015 to provide a salary schedule for a human resources manager position, repealing all ordinances or parts thereof, or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the effective date and publication thereof.
I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 separate readings on ordinance number 4048.
Second.
And that passes as well.
I now move that we would approve of ordinance number 4048.
Second.
And that motion passes. Sorry about that. Item number 11, authorize opening of a checking account at Equitable Bank for the Public Welfare and Safety Housing Inspection Revolving Fund in the amount of $50,000.
I move to authorize the opening of a checking account at Equitable Bank for the Public Welfare and Safety Housing Inspection Revolving Fund in the amount of $50,000.
Second.
We were a bidder on this at my employment, so I might just abstain from voting if that's okay.
Thank you. Motion passes 5-0 with 1 abstention. Item number 12, approve a collective bargaining agreement between the City of North Platte International Association of Firefighters, Local Number 831, for the term of October 1st, 2020, September 30th, through September 30th, 2022.
I move to approve collective bargaining agreement between the City of North Platte and International Association of Firefighters, Local 831, for the term of October 1st, 2020 through September 30th of 2022.
Second.
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 That motion passes. Item number 12A is approve application by Mid Plains Food and Lodging, Inc. for a special designated license on October 30th, 2020, from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. at the DNN Event Center, 501 East Walker Road, for MCA-MMA Entertainment Event.
I move that we approve item 12A for a liquor license for MCF event on October 30th.
Second.
And that motion passes. Thank you all. Item number 13 is claims.
Move that we pay the claims.
Second.
And that motion passes. I would certainly entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
How are you? I know. Cool. Head over to my corner.